Hi everyone, let's try to make a video about the English opening. The thing about English opening is that it can transpose into just about anything, so I'll just give some main um, main lines that Black can use. Black can play knight f6, which is hoping to get to the King's Indian defense, and Black can play e5, which is like Sicilian with different colors, and Black can play e6, which can transpose to Queen's Gambit. Black can also play c5, which is the symmetrical variation, or f5, which leads to Dutch defense after White's move d4. Black can also play g6, the modern defense, or c6, which can lead to Caro-Kann, for example, or Slav defense. And Black can also play b6, which is the English defense against the English opening. And here the idea is that Black plays bishop b7 and e6, controlling the d5 square, and also later not necessarily knight f6 but f5 and queen h4 with a kingside attack. Black can also play g5, which is a little bit more rare, but it's like an improved version of the Grob. And here White plays usually d4, and Black plays moves such as bishop g7, c5 in the like from gambit style, gambiting this g-pawn, or and queen b6 after c5. So, but if here Black plays g7, offering that pawn for some activity, c5, then if White plays something like knight c3, and here if h6, then e4, and White has a slight edge according to John Nunn, but Black can also play c5 here, but that can run into d takes c5, which should be also good for White. And Black can also just play b5, which is the Yenish gambit. So there are now 10 different first moves for Black. So it makes it more difficult for White to play the English opening. And it says that, for example, c4 e5 is like Sicilian with reversed colors, but it seems so that White has good game in these main lines, because White has an extra tempo compared to the Sicilian, and so Black can have really good results in these sidelines, I think. So I'd like to look a little bit further. For example, this Yenish Gambit and a couple of other moves. So bear with me. Let's see what happens if white accepts the pawn. A6, offering another one, just like in the Bangkok Gambit. And B takes A. Bishop takes A, and standard development move. Black can also develop, and here knight c3, and there's not a whole lot of games from this position, so I don't know if I can explore this any further. You can do it with your engines and see what they would suggest here. If it was beneficial for black to give up that pawn. Let's look at, for example, the English defense and what could really happen here. Knight c3, e4, e6 like we talked about, knight f3, interesting move, bishop d3, getting ready to tuck it in to c2 later, perhaps knight e7, getting ready to push f5, bishop c2, allowing d4, here f5, and this looks really good for black, so it's definitely worth studying if you encounter the English opening often. Here white can play queen e2 or e5, trying to lock things up, but they both seem to have good results for black. Let's look at queen e2 first. Here knight g6, bringing the knight closer to attack and also getting ready to bring the queen to the king side. Or bishop takes c3, I guess also weakening the e pawn, but not so many cases from this position, so let's look at this rather. Queen takes, and here just a development move. White hasn't been very lucky in these games. It doesn't look like far superior for black, but perhaps white has problems of defending that e-pawn, or then black has a very strong kingside attack. I'd like to look a little bit also still this g5 variation. d4, h6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, c5, and here d5, d6, and I don't know if this works for black so well. White has many options. Knight g, e2, bishop e3, bishop e2, h3, g3. That seems to be better for white, seemingly. So I guess those are the main deviations that you can have from the main line. This is the most common, but and probably also the symmetrical variation. But let's not look at them now, because I think it's more beneficial to study some of those more rare lines in the English. Okay, thanks for watching. Take care.